Last night, the two teams combined for, but really over about the last 2.5, 3 weeks, that's been the MO for each of these teams.
Yeah, I think, Tom, when you look at both of these ball clubs, and let's start with the Reds. The Reds infield has really carried this ball club. I mean, you look at third base with Suarez, the way he's hit the ball, leading the National League or second in the National League in RBIs. Jeanette, Player of the Month in May. Votto continues to do what Votto does, and that's get on base. The key for the Colorado Rockies, I believe, is not having to put Charlie Blackmon in that #1 spot.
Yep.
They've moved him down a little bit. They've put DJ LeMahieu back off the disabled list in the 1 spot, and Carlos Gonzalez hitting behind Arenado. Wow.
Let's take a look at the pitching matchup, and the guy for the Reds trying to slow down these high-flying Rockies is right-hander Sal Romano, and he's trying to right the ship here, Cowboy.
He is, Tom, and I think when you're a young pitcher, and Sal Romano is that, you start out hot, everything is going well for you, and all of a sudden you hit a bump in the road. The reason this kid has hit a bump in the road all comes down to fastball location. He's got to have it to be successful.
Well, really, no more Jekyll and Hyde pitcher in maybe all of the National League so far this year than tonight's Colorado starter, and John Gray. We saw him about a week and a half ago.
Yeah, I think when we saw Gray last year, it seemed like everything he threw was 95 plus, but he was wildly effective. This year he's throwing more strikes, but yet he's not pitching as well. Maybe he's throwing too many strikes.
All right, when we return, today is the anniversary. Where were you 1 year ago today? The greatest single game in Reds franchise history, turned in by Scooter Gennett.
By Chevy. Check out our award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili, feeling good. It's Skyline time.
We couldn't have picked a more perfect night for a baseball game tonight. Temperatures remain pretty comfortable. We fall through the 70s this evening, mostly sunny skies to mostly clear skies. Temperatures will fall into the mid to upper 60s by the end of the game. No rain in sight, and hopefully we can get a win tonight. Let's go Reds.
Welcome back inside Great American Ballpark. And just to show you never know what you might see here at the ballpark on a given night, June 6th, 2017 was just an otherwise average Tuesday night at the park, but that's not how it ended because fans here got to see some history. Against the St. Louis Cardinals, Scooter Gennett went deep 4 times in a single game. Now that's been done before, but no other player has ever posted Gennett's final stat line: 5 hits, 4 home runs, 10 RBI in a single game. And Gennett, who was not even a full-time starter, that was really part of his coming out party. Our IGS bringing the energy takes a look, including that night and the next 153 games since. These are Scooter Gennett's very impressive numbers, to say the least. 36 bombs, 119 driven in, and not even really a full season's worth of games in the books yet. So that happened 1 year ago tonight. What happens tonight? We're about to find out when we bring you back to downtown Cincinnati. Tom and the Cowboy have the call tonight as Billy Hamilton and the Reds take on the Rockies in Game 2 of this 3-game set.
Without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Buddy Black, the manager of these Colorado Rockies. They are 2 games over the 500 mark, and Black in his 2nd season in Colorado has done an extraordinary job. They played, you may remember, in the 1-game wild card, losing to Arizona a season ago. And right now they go into play tonight after winning last night. Arizona beat the Giants in Madison Bumgarner last night, so a 1-game spread in the National League West between those 2 teams. 24-year-old Connecticut native Sal Romano making his way to the mound and hoping for better things, and this is 13th start of the 2018 season.
You know, Tom, when we talked about Sal Romano early in the season, it was really about if he could get through the first inning without too much base traffic, he was fine. And now it's almost as though you're worried that it's not the first inning, it's just the performance in general. And I think as a young pitcher trying to establish yourself in the big leagues, you get off to a good start. You have 4 bad starts in a row and you start to press a little bit, and sometimes that's the worst thing you can do because then you have a tendency to overthrow, which is really the nemesis for this kid anyway.
It's the same pitching matchup we saw a week and a half ago. A game in which Colorado won, beating Romano 5-4. Gray came away the winner in that game. The Reds actually gave Romano a 2-1 lead. Then they gave him a 4-1 lead. But he could not hold it, eventually giving it up after a leadoff walk in the 6th inning. And that was a big problem for him that night. He walked 4 Rockies batters. Let's take a look at the Rockies starting lineup tonight. LeMahieu at second, Charlie Blackmon in center, Arenado their standout at third. Gonzalez, a long home run, one of the longest in the history of this ballpark last night. Story the shortstop, Parr in left. A latter third of Desmond. Tony Walters gets a start behind the plate with John Gray on the mound. Defensively for the Reds, presented by Ford. Billy Hamilton back in the lineup tonight. That 4-man rotation in the outfield continues with Winker in left and Schebler tonight in right. No Duvall. The regular group of Suarez, Peraza, Jeanette, Votto third to first, and Tucker hanging the sides. So we are set to go, roughly about 2.5 minutes behind the scheduled start time tonight. Military Appreciation Night, so the Reds wearing their camouflage uniforms and helmets. And a fastball to DJ LeMahieu, high, ball 1. LeMahieu, a pair of stints on the disabled list already this year, but when he's played well. Just came back over the weekend and has 7 hits in his first 19 at bats. It's in there a strike. Adrian Johnson calls the balls and strikes tonight. Tripp Gibson at first, Chad Whitson the umpire at second, and Brian Gorman, the crew chief, the umpire at third. Threw a fastball up at 94 right by him. 3 of the top 5 hitters batting average wise in all of Major League Baseball over the last 3+ years in this game tonight. Votto number 2, LeMahieu number 3, Blackmon number 5. Suarez a backhand. Nice play, 1 out.
Cease to be amazed at how far, not just offensively, Suarez has come since he's put on a Reds uniform, but switching from shortstop to third base, and as well as he has played at third base. He made that look easy.
You know, with Romano getting a start tonight, this will be roughly a full season worth of starts for him when you combine the number of starts he made last year to go along with this year, 28 of them. And his ERA is a little over 5 runs per 9 innings allowed. If there's ever a time the Reds need this young man now to start moving things into a different gear or up to a different level, it would be now. Made 13 starts a year ago, or 13 this year, I beg your pardon, 15 a year ago. And there you see the numbers.
And I think it's starting pitching in general, Tom. You look at the numbers. We talked about the offense for the Reds and how it's come along. We talked about that last year, how the Reds could really hit with just about any other club. But you've got to give them some hope later in the ball game, and it all starts with starting pitching. And a lot, in my mind, it starts with fastball location. It's not how hard you throw it, it's where you put it. I mean, you're in the big leagues because you've got a good arm anyway.
Well, the struggles of late have been almost staggering for Romano. His 4 most recent outings, a total of 17 2/3 innings. Now the 1-2 on Charlie Blackmon bounces up there to even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Blackmon at .295, 12 home runs, 30 batted in, at 3 hits in the game here last night. First time since 1984 the Reds had 17 or more hits in a 9-inning game and lost.
Well, you can see the game plan here early for Romano is fastball changeup early in this ball game. Normally that's not the case. It's fastball breaking ball changeup as you head to the lineup for the second time around.
Fouled out of play once more, and it remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Blew him away on a fastball up in the zone at 95 miles an hour, and the first 2 set down by Romano.
Well, this pitch here is set up by the previous pitch. He got in on the hands of Blackmon. Blackmon's thinking, all right, I've got to start a little bit earlier. You elevate the fastball. He starts earlier. Front shoulder flies. Can't catch up to the high fastball.
So a 2 away, it's Arenado, and he smokes one into left center field. I was just starting to say the last time that Romano faced the Rockies, he retired the first 2 batters in the first inning before Arenado clubbed a home run. And now the all-star third baseman on a first pitch double to left center with 2 outs.
Well, Arenado is not. He's not going to let that ball pass. Up middle, first pitch fastball.
So now Carlos Gonzalez hit a 473-foot home run here last night. And this time a 2-hopper down to Votto. He'll feed Romano at the bag, and that's all for the Rockies. So a good start for Sal. He allows to hit 1 left. Reds are coming back when we return. .25 since he started running this ship. And his lineup tonight reads as follows: Winker in left, Barnhart catching, Votto at first, Jeanette, Suarez, Schebler in the middle, Peraza, Romano, and Hamilton the latter third. Well, you talk about Jekyll and Hyde. Every time John Gray takes a mound, Bud Black probably has no idea what he's going to get. When you consider in his losses this year, 6 of them, his ERA is over 10 runs allowed per 9 innings. In his 5 wins, his ERA is 1.3. How do you explain that?
I think that the Rockies have tried to slow down Gray a little bit in order to help him locate better. Because last year there were ball games where we saw him throw and he was effectively wild, but he was wild within the strike zone and he got a lot of strikeouts and he wasn't real consistent, but yet he was dominant at times. And sometimes when you start to settle down a little bit and you start to think, okay, I just want to pitch here or pitch there, you back off too much. You not back off velocity wise, you back off intensity wise.
Tell you one thing he does do is throw strikes. He has struck out 76 batters that year. That puts him in company with Noah Syndergaard and Chris Archer among the top 20 in Major League Baseball, and he's only walked 19. High fly ball into right center field, hit a long way, and Gonzalez will get there, well short of the warning track. That ball actually wasn't hit very hard at all. Just looked like it on the trajectory coming off the bat. We look at Colorado defensively. You know about Gonzalez and Blackman. Parra, an outstanding defender in left. Arenado, Story, LeMahieu, and Desmond along the infield. And we talked about the rotation behind the plate. Iannetta last night. Tony Walters tonight. Here's Tucker Barnhart. First pitch swinging. That'll be gobbled up easily by Arenado. 5 pitches to get 2 outs.
Time on the ball that Winker hit, it went straight up into the air. Now there's about a half moon of sunshine carrying from left field around to center, but I don't think Charlie Blackmon ever saw the ball. I mean, Gonzalez was the one who made the catch, and that was well over on the center field side of right field.
Here's Joey Votto, and he's down a strike. Votto has that batting average up to 306, just 6 home runs and 24 runs batted in. Votto with 9 doubles.
Now you can look at the numbers for Votto when it comes down to RBIs. This is when Votto is hitting a lot of the times. There's nobody on base. There's 2 outs, and he may get a 2-out single or a 2-out hit. Or there's nobody to drive in.
He's gone 76 plate appearances without an RBI. That goes back to May the 16th. That's the longest RBI-less streak in his career. But he's only had 11 of those plate appearances with runners in scoring position. You know, conversely, Scooter and Suarez have had 22.
Yeah, because they're hitting with Votto on base.
That's right.
I mean, we talk so much about the speed of Billy Hamilton and how the Reds would really like to have him in that leadoff spot. Can you imagine what the Reds would score if even he had a 300 on base percentage or 320?
Yep. He went around strike 3 and Joey Votto knew it. A 1-2-3 opening inning. All of 11 pitches for Mr. Gray. At home, in your office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Visit MLB.tv for details. Scoreless game. Colorado bats here in the second inning of Game 2 in a 3-game series. We'll wrap it up with a 12:35 start tomorrow afternoon. We'll have it for you here on Fox Sports Ohio with Reds Live getting underway at high noon. And if you want to cut out of work early, or now that the kids are out for summertime from school, Tyler Mahle against Tyler Anderson. Same matchup as well we saw last week in Denver.
About Trevor Story's numbers. 312 at home. Hits the ball all over the place. Get on the road. 194. Well, if that's not a Colorado effect, I don't know what is.
And of course, that's been traditionally a huge disparity through the history of this Colorado Rockies franchise, which began playing going back to 1993. This is their 25th anniversary in terms of years, 26 seasons.
You just wouldn't think there would be that big of a disparity with your content.
2-1 delivering. Pulled foul.
To me, I think it's more of a confidence thing than anything else. I think in Colorado, you relax. You realize that the ball is going to carry. All you've got to do is get the barrel of the bat to the baseball, so you don't try to swing so hard to create power. And I think it increases your confidence in that ballpark. You get on the road, you try to swing too hard, you pull off, you hit it off the end of the bat, it doesn't go anywhere.
Of course, the irony of that whole thing this year so far is Colorado has played the overwhelming majority of its games on the road. I mean, this is a team that has played 33 road games. They have only played, what now, 27 home, and the only reason it's that close is because they just are in a stretch where they're playing 12 out of 15 at home. But they've been a much better road team than home team so far this year, and their strike 3 called. Second strikeout for Romano.
High backup breaking ball, but it catches the inside corner. I think Trevor Story thought this ball was going to run in on him, and it dropped straight down over the top of the inside part of the plate.
Gerardo Parra, the batter, 274 batter, 3 home runs, 17 knocked in. First pitch swinging, drops it foul off to the third base side. Parra had 2 hits, including a bunt single, also knocked in a run with a base hit last night. That fella made that play down there. He's got one of those carriers right there where he has his little girl, and he reached up and made that play. I mean, as good as it gets right there. Well done, young man. How about that? Take a look at this. He's got his little papoose on there. Now watch this. Just right in traffic. Almost backhanded it.
That was a pretty good play. I was going to say, well, he was protecting his kid. No, he wasn't. He was going after the ball.
Swing and a miss by Parra, and that's back-to-back strikeouts for Romano. 3 of them now.
Good changeup right there for Romano. He's gotten off to a pretty good start here. Actually, that's a breaking ball.
Ian Desmond at 193, 10 home runs, does have 31 runs batted in. He's among the team leaders, and this is a team that has scored a pile of runs. So when he has hit, he's made the most of it. Boy, what a beautiful day yet again we've been blessed with here in Cincinnati. I mean, about, I don't know, noon, it was right around 68 degrees, climbing up to the mid-70s today, and just a beautiful night in store, and expecting more of the same tomorrow for that 12:35 game.
Yeah, that'll be a great time to watch a day game of baseball. Won't be overbearing sunshine. It'll just be that perfect day at the ballpark.
Garden of Eden kind of a day. And once again, it's another kid glove night, Cowboy. You were talking about last night how you can actually, thanks to the folks with the Kid Glove Association, how you can throw out a first pitch at a Reds game.
Yeah, you can make that bid. And Paul Kramer's taking all bids. He's the director of Kids Glove. The last bid will be on Friday, June 8th, so you don't have much time.
No, you got 2 more days.
Paul Wink, Paulwink at fuse.net. You throw it, I'll catch it.
You're going to be down there
because
to be
I
the
can't
receiver.
throw it.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Three balls, 2 strikes on Ian Desmond. Romano trying to retire the side in order. Can he do it on strikeouts? No, but that's a foul ball. Not yet. Rockies with a win last night snapped a season high 4-game losing streak, and during the losing streak they had a lead in each of those 4 games. This is just a quick 3-game getaway and then right back to Denver tomorrow night. Ball 4. You look up and down this Colorado batting order, and there are all kinds of guys we know can hurt you. LeMahieu, Blackmon, Arenado, Gonzalez, Story, Parra, Desmond, even with all the home runs and runs batted in. The one position you look at Colorado where they have virtually 0 offense is from the catching position, but don't tell the Reds about that. In roughly 16 at bats, 11 of the 16 times Colorado catchers have reached base against Reds pitching, including a stunning 5 walks.
Well, this is the batter of the ball game that was the bane of one Sal Romano's existence in his start in Colorado.
Right.
The walk to Tony Wolters is what set up the game-winning run. It was a 4-4 ball game at the time. He walked this guy who was hitting 130 at the time, and ultimately ended up scoring the go-ahead.
You also may remember he walked Wolters the prior plate appearance with the bases loaded to bring in a run.
Well, he's 0-2 on him right here tonight.
Good start.
So if you're Tony Wolters, you might want to swing. Drop that hammer on him right here.
On an 0-2 pitch, hooked down to the right field corner. On his way to third is Ian Desmond. They're going to wave him around. Schebler, I'm not quite sure what happened down in that corner. It looked like he may have reached once or twice to try and find the ball down there. We saw Winker have an issue in the game last night. We'll take a look at it on the replay, but it's 1-0 Colorado, and the catchers continue to just haunt Cincinnati pitching.
An 0-2 pitch. It's a breaking ball. You try to overthrow it. It ends up belt high. Even a 150 hitter in the big leagues is going to hammer that pitch.
It looked like a slight little bobble down there in the corner. And that's the difference between a guy for sure scoring and having a shot at the plate. So it'll go as a double, an RBI for Wolters, and here's Gray, 3 hits and 18 at bats. 0-2. Got him swinging to retire the side. Romano strikes out 3 in the inning, but he allows a 2-out walk that comes in to score on the double by Wolters.
Down a run against the Rockies, and earlier today this was the scene at the ballpark because so many good things happen for the Reds sometimes a long time before the first pitch is ever thrown. This is the National Play Campaign. Play stands for promoting a lifetime of activity for youth. You see Reds third base coach Billy Hatcher, the entire training staff for the Reds led by Steve Bauman, the head athletic trainer. Why are they involved? Because the Professional Baseball Athletic Trainers Association started this initiative 14 years ago. The message, get active, stay healthy, and the Reds glad to be involved in that each and every year. The program visits all 30 big league ballparks, guys.
Very, very nice. Thank you, Brian. And, if there is one guy in this Reds organization who gives his time to things just like that and so many, many, many more, is Billy Hatcher.
There's no doubt about that.
I mean, he is top shelf as they come. He's made his year-round home here for a long, long time. Good man, good baseball man. Knows his stuff. And that's a thankless job down there as a third base coach. A lot of people last night.
Was like last night.
Yep. Waved around Winker and he was thrown out of the plate, and you never remember the good ones, but you certainly do remember the bad ones, and that's part of the job. Every third base coach knows that.
Anytime someone is thrown out at the plate, it's going to flash back on the guy at third base as the coach. Now, whether it's the speed of the runner, whether it's the break at second base, whether it's the secondary lead, there are a lot of things that go into that. Or it could be the arm and the great throw from left field. Sometimes you got to give credit where credit is due.
Scooter Gennett in his career 5 hits in 9 career plate appearances against Gray. Swing and a miss on a high fastball. 2-2. Tonight, the anniversary of a game I'm sure many will never forget. Just an extraordinary game, without a doubt the single greatest game in Reds franchise history. In fact, some would argue it's the greatest single game by any player in any game in the history of baseball, because it is the first and only time where a player in Major League history produced 5 hits in a game, 4 home runs in a game, and 10 RBIs in a game. So you can sit around and debate, well, what about the game the guy knocked in 14, the guy knocked in 12, whatever the case may be. You can go on with that, but his game was the only game. 5 hits, 4 home runs, 10 batted in. All 3 check, check, check.
The part that amazed me about the whole issue, Tom, is that he hit a home run down the left field line, hit one to right center. The last one he hit was a tomahawk that was about head high, may have been higher than his head, and he hooks it into the right field seats.
And he has just drawn a walk. It's interesting to know we put up that panel with all the various numbers and so forth. The other 4-homer game that included a grand slam, you see Mark Whitten, number 2 on that list. That was against the Reds at Old Riverfront Stadium, playing for the St. Louis Cardinals. So the only 2 times that's ever happened in the history of baseball, both happened here in Cincinnati. A rare walk issued by Gray, and here's a Eugenio Suarez. 11 home runs, 44 knocked in, a .301 batter is Suarez.
First in the National League in slugging percentage. That's not too bad.
Not bad at all. And of course, he missed over 2.5 weeks worth of games. Yet still ranks among the league leaders both in home runs and runs batted in. Had a pitch to hit right there and fouled it back.
There are times when you watch Suarez as he steps to the plate and he's standing waiting on a pitch. You think, get ready, get ready. He's just nice and relaxed, sets that bat on the back shoulder. You think, all right, well, your knees aren't bent, you're not ready to go. Come on. and then he just goes right into hit mode. And I think for him, what it does is it just alleviates any of the stress that goes into swinging the bat. See ball, hit ball. Don't make it too complicated.
Base hit through the hole in the left field, and the Reds have something brewing here in the second inning. A walk and a single to get it started. Well, here comes Schebler, and we touched on it when we were giving you the starting lineups, this 4-man outfield rotation, and Schebler had a few things to say about that.
Outfield rotation has, hasn't been the best thing for all of us as far as we're used to everyday at bats. It's just different. I guess the best way to say it's different for all of us outfielders. It's just something we have to get used to, and I think that's part of the reason we haven't, collectively as a group, been hitting as well this year. But it's something that we're gonna, have to get used to. So hopefully we get our routines down and figure it out.
I think he's right to a certain extent with that comment. We talk about the mindset of a pitcher that maybe struggles a little bit, tries to put too much pressure on himself. I think it's the same for an outfield group like this. I mean, Duvall and Schebler have not been in the big leagues very long at all. Now Hamilton has been there much longer than the others, and Jesse Winker is just getting his feet wet. So all of them are pressing to keep their jobs at the major league level on a daily basis. And sometimes that pressure can make you do things that you don't normally do if you're nice and relaxed, as we were talking about with Suarez. But sooner or later, you got to figure it out.
Most guys that are playing every day are anywhere at this point in the year between 210 and 235 at bats, and of course, the plate appearances will vary depending on how frequently you walk, that kind of thing. Duvall has the most at bats among all the outfielders, and he's at 191. Hamilton has 183. Winker 164, and Schebler the fewest at 148. So what does it all mean? It means roughly that 2 of the 4, Winker and Schebler, are anywhere from 50 to 55 at bats fewer than if they were playing every day.
Part of Schebler's at bats in the subtraction department because he was hurt.
That's
early.
right.
He got off to a great start, had a great spring training, and there's a lot of different ways you can look at all this. You can say, well, we love competition. The best 3 will, the cream will rise to the top. Well, that's what you hope in the front office. You hope that you'll get 3 guys that are doing what they're supposed to do on a regular basis. But the problem that you have, and where it really lies, is your best defensive outfielder is Billy Hamilton, who covers more ground, or as much ground as any other outfielder in baseball, but yet he's not swinging the bat. So you've got a quandary there. There is no outfielder on this club that can play the outfield like Hamilton, period.
Three balls and 2 strikes on Schebler. Jeanette the runner at second base. Suarez at first with Desmond playing behind him down there. And now a payoff pitch coming from Gray. Nobody out. Now there's 1 out.
Slider right in the heart of the plate.
Schebler looking for that 3-2 heater that never came. Now Jose Peraza checks in at 264. Swing and a miss. That ball gets away from Walters, but neither runner will advance.
And I think it's an interesting dynamic as well, Tom, when you talk about Jose Peraza. When you put him at the top of the order, it seems like he presses more to try to get on base, swinging at maybe pitches that he would not swing in a spot he's at now. I mean, he's got an 8-game hitting streak going right now, swinging the bat well. And he's had that up and down kind of roller coaster season, depending on where you've put him in the batting order. And I think that's the toughest part for players to figure out, especially young players.
This one will fall into left center field, a base hit, easily scoring. Janetto had a great read on that ball, so the hitting streak continues for Peraza. Now 9 in a row, and the Reds have tied the game at 1.
It comes down to a mental challenge, Tom. You've got to figure out as a player how to keep yourself relaxed regardless of the situation, whether you're on the mound or at the plate, regardless if it's a 10-0 ball game or a 1-0 ball game. You've got to figure out that between your own 2 ears. Nobody else can do that for you.
All right, now Romano. Peraza drives in his 16th run. Romano 1 of 19 as a batter. He does have 3 sacrifices. Rockies believe he's bunting. Bunted back to the screen. Strike 1.
Arenado was not charging at all on that pitch. First baseman right on top of Romano. And in this spot, you're trying to bunt the ball to third, make Arenado field the ball and come get it.
And not a good bunt. They get the force out easily as that ball was bunted too close to the pitcher, so Arenado could stay home. 2 down. Billy Hamilton, a 202 batter. He has 2 on with 2 out in inning number 2 in a 1-1 game. And into short right field, but caught by Gonzalez, and that's all. The Reds tie the game after a leadoff walk. Run scoring single by Peraza. At the ballpark, cheer on the Reds. They'll take on the Cardinals. You can be here as low as for $12. We'll have the big post-game fireworks show set to a superhero-themed soundtrack. And the Cincinnati Pops are going to do that live here on the field. It's all thanks to Delta Airlines. For tickets, visit Reds.com. Beautiful night. Father and son at the old ballpark. Just like when you remember, Cowboy, hanging out with your dad and a cell phone. Don't those bring back memories?
All we did was sit in the car and listen to the game in my driveway.
Look at a big fellow there, hanging out with his little one.
Oh yeah. My first major league game, I played in it.
How about that?
I was nervous as a cat on a hot tin roof. Whew.
I remember the first major league game I went to. We were living in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and my grandparents took my sister and me to Disney World. We took a Greyhound bus out of Virginia Beach, Virginia on our way to Orlando. We stopped in Atlanta and saw a 15-inning game between the Braves and the Mets.
Wow.
I don't know what year that was, 71, 72.
So your first major league game was at Fulton County Stadium?
It was.
So was mine.
How about that? How about that? And we're days apart in age.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a fun night. Grandma, Grandpa, my sister, and me, and my mom. And I don't know how many people would think of riding a Greyhound bus as anything so great. I thought it was awesome. Top of the order for Colorado in a 1-1 game, top of the third inning. Hello, everybody. That's in the air to left field, and Winker with a diving play. How about that?
Nice play. And that ball looked like it was hooking away from Winker. The key is the jump. The first step, as soon as the ball comes off the bat, it's a breaking ball. You can see LeMahieu out in front, hooking away from Jesse Winker, and what a play he makes on that ball.
Yes, indeed. So now Charlie Blackmon, the batter. He struck out his first time up. Jesse still sporting those shades on the bill of his cap, although the left field is no longer in the sunshine. Votto will go to the bag as Jeanette throws out Blackmon. 2 quick outs for Romano here in the third inning. If a Red were to hit a Toyota sign out in right center tonight, Gerald Green of West Harrison, Indiana, will win this beautiful new Tundra thanks to your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Good luck, Gerald Green. Nolan Arenado doubled to left center field. The first pitch of his at bat in the first inning. Looks at strike one here. He's now reached base 18 straight games, which is most in the National League, in all but 3 games so far this year that he's played in. 53 of 56. He ranks second in the National League in slugging percentage and second with a .421 on base percentage.
You can almost tell by the way Arenado took those first 2 pitches. He's looking for something a bit close to him early in the count, something that he can pull and he can drive. If it's away, he's just taking it, and all 3 of these pitches have been away, but yet they've been out of the strike zone.
Two-one, straight up in the air and out of play.
And you see where that pitch was, a 3-0 pitch. It's close to him. It's up and in and running in, but he sees that as a pitch he can go get and drive, mistakenly so. Watch where this pitch ends up. I mean, that's up and running in.
This will be the first 1-2-3 inning for Romano tonight. LeMahieu, Blackman, Arenado retired. It took a nice play in left field to make it a 1-2-3 inning by Jesse Winker.
This is the second military appreciation night of the season at the ballpark, and this one is a little extra special because these extraordinary gentlemen and ladies who joined us pregame, all World War II veterans. Of course, this on the 74th anniversary of D-Day, commemorating the Allied landing in Normandy. We honor those men and women here today and the memories of so many others, guys.
Well, certainly that day on June the 6th, 1944, when more than 160,000 Allied troops landed along roughly a 50-mile stretch of that heavily fortified French coastline you mentioned, Brian, to fight Nazi Germany on the beaches of Normandy, France. General Dwight D. Eisenhower called the operation a crusade, in which, quote, "we will accept nothing less than full victory." When's the last time we heard an American president say that? And that was a day that changed the course of the world forever. The cost in lives: more than 9,000 Allied soldiers were killed or wounded. But that was the start of the end for Adolf Hitler and the Germans. And we salute all those, not just in World War II, those that have served, that are serving, that will serve, but this certainly is a very special day, June the 6th. And of course, our cameraman right here in the booth is a veteran of Vietnam, Army veteran. 68 and 69, Mr. Jim Strickler. A ball in the air to right center field, and this one is not going to be caught. Winker had one caught his first time up, and this is a double.
Make a great play, lead off the next inning with a double. Pretty solid.
We were talking about Strick up here in the booth with us. He's been covering Reds baseball on television. There's Strick. Come on, Strick. Step away from there, for crying out loud. 1975, his two daughters, Hillary and Veronica. He was working covering the Big Red Machine. Also fondly remembers Tom Seaver's no-hitter, the only one he would throw in his career. And he was following the flight of the ball, was Mr. Strickler, when Jay Bruce in 2010 hit that home run to win the National League Central Division Championship. And we work with him in the booth every single day, and it's an honor. We go way back, though, to the Channel 5 days. Way back.
The Reds have a grand opportunity here to put some runs on the board. You get your leadoff batter aboard, standing at second base. We talked about the 3, 4, 5 in this order, and Barnhart's riding a 4-game hitting streak coming into today.
Behind here on Gray, 0-2 after a leadoff double by Winker. 1-1 game in the third. Struck him out. So not only an out, but an unproductive out for Tucker Barnhart. Now Votto, the batter.
This is actually the kind of situation where John Gray has done his best work. Runners in scoring position, that's when he's pitched his best. Nobody on base, he gives up a lot of traffic. Guys get on base, he seems to find a way to get outs.
We're talking about Votto looking for his first RBI since the middle of May. 77 plate appearances, his longest drought without a run batted in during his major league career. He struck out his first time up. When you look at the numbers, Votto hitting with runners in scoring position this year, you love the .360 batting average. Where it falls off the table is when he bats with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. In those situations, he's a .220 batter. But 1 out here, where he's been real good. He's up over 400 with fewer than 2 outs and a runner in scoring position. Two and one.
And even with the way Jeanette has swung the bat this year, I still think if you're John Gray on the mound right now, you're thinking, all right, I'm going to try to get Votto out here. If I walk him, I'm not going to worry about it because I give myself a double play opportunity. Fooled him definitely with a fastball there after 2 breaking balls in the dirt, down and in. That was interesting. Votto just got tired of waiting on Mr. John Gray.
Votto tries to break this 1-1 tie here in the third inning. Runner at second, 1 out. And he shoots it into left field. It will not bring in the run. Winker had to make sure that ball wasn't caught by Arenado. So a base hit by Joey, and they're on the corners.
Well, there's nothing you can do there if you're Winker. You have to freeze because the ball just did elude the glove of Arenado. And even if you think that you know it's going to go over his head, Arenado has pulled so many rabbits out of the hat over there at third base, you just can't take a chance.
Now Jeanette. 42 runs batted in, 2 off the pace set by Suarez for the team high. It's interesting, you know, we were talking about the numbers for Votto with runners in scoring position, fewer than 2 outs as opposed to with 2 outs. Now Jeanette is a flip-flop of Votto. With fewer than 2 outs, he's right around a 250 batter. But with 2 outs, he's almost a 350 batter with runners in scoring position, and that's how they end up coming out in the wash. 288.
When you watch the body language of Votto at the plate, Jeanette, we talked about Suarez earlier. They're very difficult guys to read if you're standing on the mound, as far as how much pressure they're putting on themselves to drive a run in this kind of circumstance. When you're a veteran pitcher, you're always looking at that front forearm, see how much they're squeezing the bat. You're watching body language, eye contact, how many times they dig in the dirt with their feet, if they're doing something different than they normally do, out of the ordinary. Those are the things that you look at when you're on the mound to try to distinguish whether a guy is trying to do something different.
In the air, straightaway center. This will break the 1-1 tie. Blackman the catch. Winker tags and scores. 2-1 Cincinnati. Jeanette RBI number 43. So Votto's hit got him down there, and the fly ball from Jeanette brings him in.
But all of this is started by the leadoff double by Winker.
Arenado will make the play across the diamond, and that's all for the Reds. But a leadoff double by Winker, a single by Votto gets him to third. The fly ball by Jeanette makes it 2-1 Reds at the end of 3.
Because no matter where you serve or when you served, we stand ready to serve all military families.
Well, Reds fans, big night Saturday, June the 16th here at the ballpark. That'll be Luke Bryan, What Makes You Country Tour, featuring Sam Hunt. Get your tickets today at Reds.com/Luke Bryan. Great show. Great show.
Might have to stay for that one.
Reds, of course, will be out of town.
I guess I'll be staying.
Where will the Reds be? They will be in Pittsburgh next weekend. Pittsburgh, Luke Bryan. Scales of justice. Pittsburgh, Luke Bryan.
Well, what I want to know is who's responsible for the scheduling of these concerts. You got Luke Bryan come to town. We're out of town when I'd like to be in town. You got Flo Rida here. We're in town. I'd like to be out of town. Not to make some phone calls.
Oh, boy. And the Zach Brown band is coming in later this summer. And Cowboy, we're going to be out of town for that. So you better start throwing some of that muscle of yours around. Because we know you carry a lot of clout around these parts.
A lot of clout, evidently not.
Winker able to track the fly ball off the bat of Gonzalez. Reds lead 2-1. One gone here in the Colorado fourth inning.
Well, I think you have to hand it to Mr. Romano here his second time around against these Rockies. He's settled down a little bit. Had a little different game plan coming into this one. Fastball changeup early. He's mixed in the breaking ball here lately. But pitch count has been pretty good so far.
This ball is driven into deep right center field. And that's up and over the wall. A ground rule double for Trevor Story. You know, Cowboy, we had a shot of that boat along the river. It made me think that we're in Pittsburgh and maybe we could jump on something like that.
Like a boat?
And get on the Ohio River down here and at least be able to sit outside for the Luke Bryan concert.
That pontoon will not get us from Pittsburgh to here with any amount of reasonable time.
Okay. Well, but you know some people, though, that have maybe some of those other kinds of boats where we might have a
we ought to just get in my car. I'll get you here.
Or maybe we could talk to some highfalutin exec about, you know, maybe a private plane.
Come pick us up.
Yeah, come pick us up and bring us back to the Luke Bryan show.
And when we're done, take us back.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, if you're going to bring us, you got to get us back, right?
Back, right.
I mean, that's a 4:05 start in Pittsburgh next week. We could easily make it because you got a warm-up act in Sam Hunt.
Right.
I guarantee Luke Bryan probably doesn't hit the stage till about 9. We'd easily make it. So if there are any big shots out there, I mean, Cowboy, you run with that crowd a lot. It's 0-2 on par. I mean, maybe we can get a lift back. How do you say it, Cowboy? We appreciate you.
We appreciate you. We catch you on the flip side. We're gone. Bye-bye. That's about what note I would get there. Maybe I should ask your dad if I could borrow his plane.
Oh, yeah. Tying run out there at second with 1 out. It's 0-2 on Gerardo Parra. He struck out his first time on a pitch a lot like that one. Tucker preventing that runner from reaching third with this block. Gold Glove winning catcher in the National League a season ago. Textbook.
There's no doubt about that. You could see Parra really trying to wait back so he didn't rush out for a second consecutive breaking ball. Barnhart set away early, but the pitch was designed to come in, and that's exactly where Romano got it to. You're in a spot now where you try to speed him up, slow him down. Hitter's trying to do one thing, and that's wait back so he doesn't swing over the top of that breaking ball in the dirt. Your job as a pitcher is to make sure he speeds that bat up, and maybe that's what they're going to talk about. Maybe you start that slider down and in. Because Parra's looking to shoot the ball right between the shortstop and the third baseman.
He hooks it to the right side into right field. A base hit. They're going to wave around the runner, and he will score without a throw. So a double and a single. That went on a 1-2 pitch from Parra, and we're tied at 2.
He's got a little bit too much of the plate with a breaking ball. And as a hitter, when you're standing at the plate and you're thinking, all right, I'm going to shoot that fastball the other way, it allows you to wait just that split second longer. So when you do get a breaking ball like that, the bat will carry right to it. You stay back just that last split second. You can get enough of the bat on it to get it through the infield.
Ian Desmond drew a 2-out walk and scored on a double by Walters. Now that boat might give us a chance. Maybe. I'd like to see you water skiing off the back of one of those, Cowboy. Maybe a little wakeboarding. What do you think? In your cowboy boots, a little wakeboarding. You ever done that before?
No. I don't think my body can take it.
That's what that guy's getting ready to do. A little wakeboarding. Maybe a little surfing off the back of that thing. I could see you with cowboy boots and a cowboy hat.
Not happening. How are you going to keep a hat on with the wind blowing like that anyway?
Alan Jackson did a video with cowboy boots and a hat years ago. Music video. Water skiing. The Chattahoochee.
Must have had some of that little plastic cement on his head. Keep that hat on.
1 ball and 1 strike.
Now he tried to go up with Desmond in his last at bat, and Desmond didn't chase the ball up out of the zone, ended up walking.
That ball is killed into left center field. And that is out of here. A 2-run home run by Desmond on a 1-1 pitch. And Colorado ties it, now jumps in front by 2.
Back-to-back at bats where Romano has gotten beaten on a breaking ball that stays in the middle of the strike zone. And you can just see this thing spin. That's a cement mixer. You know, if you notice, Tom, when the Rockies start to get a little bit of momentum going, they start to swing. They expand that zone a little bit. They get real aggressive at the plate. And they can jump on you in a hurry.
That they can. I mean, bang, bang, bang. Double, single, 2-run missile. And even though Desmond was hearing a lot of boos when we were in Denver 2 weeks ago, and
the bat better.
Rockies fans really don't boo a lot. I mean, at the end of the day, this guy's got now 20 plus extra base hits, and he has 33 runs batted in.
Well, he just got off to an awfully rough start. He's starting to swing the bat better now. But I mean, just when I thought Romano was starting to settle in a little bit, he makes a bad pitch, and then he multiplies it by making back-to-back consecutive bad pitches. I mean, he was ahead of Parra 0-2. on a batter that he struck out the previous time up. Comes down to execution, and you have to have execution under pressure.
1-2 on Walters. Walters a run scoring double, another batter that Romano was ahead of. 0-2 before he hooked that double down the right field line to drive in a run. Challenged with the fastball here over by the Colorado dugout, and neither Suarez nor Barnhart got to the ball. That ball dropped in the field of play, I believe.
It did. I think they were both thinking that the other one was going to catch the ball.
It's an easier play for the third baseman.
That's Suarez's ball, not Barnhart's.
Well, nobody touched it, so you can't give an error, but somebody deserves an error on that ball. That was in the air forever.
Well, it's just one of those balls that you expect to be caught, and it wasn't.
Strike 3 to Walters.
Fastball starts under the hands, runs right back to the inside corner.
So now the pitcher Gray, who when the Rockies came to the plate, he had just given up the tie-breaking run in the bottom of the third inning. But now his team has a 2-run lead with a 3-run top of the fourth. 2-0 on the pitcher Gray. Back through the middle, weakly hit. Peraza will throw. Gray busting it up the line. Big fourth for Colorado, including a 2-run home run by Desmond to put him in front by a pair.
With the Reds Community Fund and Urban Youth Academy signing day, and the young men and women you see here at the head table, 14 players and student athletes from the Reds RBI program reviving baseball in inner cities. Young men and women who've worked at the Reds Urban Youth Academy and play on teams there signed their college letters of intent. 14 signing to play at the next level. You saw Michael Lorenzen from the Reds made a pregame stop there. He's a regular at the Reds Urban Youth Academy. A lot of proud parents, coaches, and family members here. And this really just highlights the work and the mission of the Reds Community Fund and the Urban Youth Academy. That's the payoff today for all the hard work that happens on a regular basis at the campus there in Roselawn. I had the opportunity to MC that event, and it's really an impressive group of young people and such great work by Charlie Frank and his staff at the Community Fund, as well as Jerome Wright, the director of the Reds Urban Youth Academy. Guys.
Yeah, Mr. Wright and Charlie Frank and all those who volunteers to help all those young people, the young boys and girls over there at the Youth Academy. Tip of the hat. That looks like a nice night tonight, doesn't it? Out there in a boat cruising around. You a big boat guy, Cowboy? I mean, I was joking around a little while ago. Are you a big boat guy?
I love the water.
Yeah.
But my loved one, she looks at water. She can look at a glass of water and get sick. So I might as well not even think about it.
Did you ever have one of those like Captain Stubing hats back when you were cruising around a little bit?
We are in bass boats where I live at. It doesn't look like that. You got a couple of chairs and you got rods and reels hanging out.
Yeah. Yeah, but you got to wear a lid. I mean, I can see you still wearing a captain's hat.
I'm a baseball cap guy, not a captain.
Not a beret?
Captain who?
Not a beret?
No. Beret.
There is a picture with you in a beret down in the radio booth.
Yeah, Photoshop. Courtesy of Jamie Ramsey. It's a solid pick, I might.
Yeah, it really is solid. I mean, that is a good look for you with the hair and the locks and the. I mean, you almost look like a Frenchman. Reds are down 4-2. They bat here in the 4th inning.
Look, the Reds may have given up the 3 runs there in the top of the 4th. They are still very much in this ball game. You've just got to stay on top and stay on point from an offensive standpoint. There we go.
That one muscled into left center field. That'll be a base hit for Schebler. Struck out his first time up, and now a single to begin the 4th inning. You know, the Reds have used so much bullpen. I think it would be a shock if they were to hit for Romano even in this 4th inning. Although you never know.
Well, the key in these spots is being able to bunt successfully. That's what allows you to stay in the ball game. If you can at least get a bunt down, you can stay in the ball game. At least you advance the runners. But if you can't bunt, then you're just an out.
And you see just beginning to throw down there is Michael Lorenzen.
Well, if Peraza hits a double here, you got a decision to make. You're trying to win ball games.
Peraza with a run-scoring single, a 2-out run scoring or a single to drive in Jeanette, I beg your pardon, in the 2nd inning.
You've got 2 pitches here if you're John Gray to try to strike out Peraza.
Little number to the right side. They'll play to first. On to second goes Schebler. 1 out. Romano looking into the dugout, and he will be sent up there to bat. We brought it up last night that the Reds starting pitchers are averaging exactly 5 innings pitched per start. The lowest number among all teams in the National League.
And it's not always about giving up too many runs in those first 5 innings. It's throwing 100+ pitches in 4 innings. And I still go back to my initial premise. If you can't control your fastball, you are going to have a boatload of pitches. That should be something that we're teaching from the time you sign with the Reds until the time you get to the big leagues. Fastball location. If you can't do it, you can't move to the next level.
There was a very interesting development before the game today, and I don't know how much it's been reported, but Jim Riggleman did say it before the game, and it made me think of it with Homer Bailey down there. Bailey went on the disabled list. He's been bothered by a sore knee, not a knee that would land him on the disabled list up until now. But it's been bothering him pretty much the entire year. So the Reds went ahead and placed him on the DL. Well, when asked about that, Jim Riggleman said once he gets the knee better, we are sending him to the minor leagues as a starter with the plan to have him come back as a starter. And of course, I'm not sure there was a bigger story outside of maybe Brian Price being replaced by Jim Riggleman around this Reds team this year as Romano's gone on strikes than the announcement that was made when the team was on the West Coast before coming home yesterday that Bailey had been sent to the bullpen. And then of course Bailey came out and said point blank, I don't think I can be a reliever. It takes me too long to get warmed up. Clearly wanting nothing to do with going into the bullpen. You know, you wonder if Bailey could do it all over again. Would he say those same things? Because it certainly did not come across. I was not on the trip. I was no different than anybody else. A fan reading the newspapers, listening to talk radio, whatever it might be. It did not come across well at all back here at home. I don't know how you felt about it. You were with a team.
Well, I think the key for Bailey, especially after the elbow issues that he's had in the past, he may literally not feel like he can get ready in time to actually be any kind of help at all out of the bullpen. So if that's the case, then he's got to be better as a starter. And if the knee is the issue, then you've got to get the knee healthy and get him right back into a spot where he can help you from a rotation standpoint.
All right, so a runner at second base with 2 outs for Billy Hamilton, 2 balls and no strikes. Reds on the short end of a 4-2 game, batting in the last of the 4th inning.
See, this is a spot that I look at, Tom, and I look at Ian Desmond playing at the back part of the grass on the first base side at first base. With that being the issue, if you can bunt the ball to the right field side or the right field side, the first base side, you move the runner to third. You have to stay within your game. If you're not an RBI guy, you're an on base guy, you still have to play your game, and that's get on base, which Hamilton does here.
And I'm sure that Bud Black is ready to choke John Gray. I mean, that's 2 outs in an inning. And Billy Hamilton's batting 200, and you issue a 4-pitch walk and have to face a guy who doubled his last time up.
Sending Steve Foster out there to choke him. We know better than that.
Steve, of course, broke in to the major leagues with the Reds.
He's a teammate of mine when I was here.
Pitched parts of 3 seasons with the Reds.
Really had a rough shoulder problem when I was here and just never got better.
Boy, when he was healthy, he was pretty good.
Yeah, he could sling it.
Yeah.
The thing I remember about Steve Foster as much as anything. Even when he was hurt, there was always an interest of, okay, well, why is he, Cowboy, why is he doing this? Or why is he doing that? Or what about this pitch here? Or what do you think about that? I mean, there was always a thought process going on, and he couldn't pitch. He was still trying to learn. And I think that's the issue that you have to get better at the big league level. You have to ask questions. You have to think about it. You have to wonder why some guys are successful and why some guys are not, and try to apply that to your game.
Winker flied to right his first time up, doubled to right center his last time, and scored.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that you try to pitch like Nolan Ryan or try to pitch like Max Scherzer or Clayton Kershaw, the guys that are good today, but you take bits of information and try to make your game better, because if you're not getting better, you're getting worse.
Straight up in the air. Blackman finding the ball, and that's all for the Reds. A strand 2. We move to the 5th. There we go. All we need is a cowboy and a pair of cowboy boots and a hat. Little water skiing out there. Can't you see it? Can't you see it?
Weekend here at Great American Ballpark. Saturday, be one of the first 20,000 fans through the gates, and you get a Scooter Gennett bobblehead presented by Dynegy Energy Services. Your Reds take on the Cardinals for as little as $12 for tickets. Go to Reds.com. First time we've seen the Cards in this ballpark since mid-April.
All right, Mr. Giesenslaw, it's great having you with us, and I know you'll be back with us again tomorrow for the series finale. Top of the 5th, Colorado a 4-2 lead. And here's DJ LeMahieu.
Now it would be quite important for one Sal Romano. Get a quick inning, get the Reds back in there, see if they can get that offense back cranked up. Keep the pressure on John Gray.
Already the 3rd trip to the plate for the Colorado leadoff man. 0 for 2. Romano's done a nice job with the front 4 in the order. It's been thereafter where the problems have occurred. I mean, the 4 best hitters in this lineup, LeMahieu, Blackman, Arenado, and Gonzalez, are a combined now make it 1 for 9 after that strikeout.
This should be Sal Romano's bread and butter. that side of the plate. I don't care if a left-hander's at the plate or a right-hander. That should be the pitch that you work on the most. It starts off the plate and comes back to the outside corner. It has good velocity at good movement. The pitch is down. Whether you're a left-hander or a right-hander, that is a tough pitch to hit.
Now Blackman 0 for 2 is struck out and tapped to Jeanette. Ball 1.
There are many times when Romano goes arm side with the fastball, as he did there to Blackman. The ball runs off the plate away. That's the pitch he should be doing. Starts in off the plate. Even a quality hitter like Blackman, this is a ball out of his hand, right back to the inside corner.
Two balls and a strike on Blackman. Got him to chase that high fastball and straight up into the air. Who wants it? Jeanette.
Anytime you throw the ball as hard as Romano does with that type of movement, when a pitch starts off the plate, unless it's 2 strikes, a hitter says that's a ball out of his hand, and then it runs back to the corner. Then there's a little bit of a learning curve for the hitter, but it's still difficult to pull the trigger on a pitch that looks like a ball all the way to the plate. I mean, that's why guys throw breaking balls. It looks like a strike and then it's not. But when it looks like a strike and it stays a strike, that's when it gets hammered.
0-1 on Arenado. He had a double his first time up, flied out to Hamilton the next time. 0-2.
And you can see Tucker starting to realize, all right, that ball's coming back to the corner. He's setting on that outside edge, trying to get the ball to start off the plate, come back. Tough pitch to hit.
Suarez charging, can't find the handle, finally does, and throws out Arenado, and that's all. 1-2-3 in the 5th for Romano. Reds still trail 4-2. Children's changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer, Ford, go further. Jeff Brantley, Brian Giesenslaw, Tom Brenneman, our entire Fox Sports Ohio crew from Great American Ballpark in downtown Cincinnati. Game 2 of this 3-game set, afternoon till tomorrow. And that ball clobbered down the right field line. A foul ball off the bat of Tucker Barnhart.
Yeah, this is an awfully good spot for the Reds right now. You've got your 2-hole hitter and then Votto, Jeanette, Suarez coming to the plate. It's not that you want to get all the runs back in one swing of the bat or all at one time, but continue to keep the pressure on John Gray. It was a nice comeback inning by Sal Romano, especially after giving up the 3 runs in the 4th. 3 up, 3 down there in the top of the inning.
Tucker to be followed in the inning by Votto and Jeanette. Strike 3 called, and Barnhart has something to say to the home plate umpire Adrian Johnson about that call. Looked pretty good. 95 painting the inside corner about knee high.
It's a very similar pitch to what we saw Romano making. That pitch starts off the plate, but you saw on the replay it got plenty of plate as it got to the strike zone.
Now Joey Votto, he has a single and 2 at bats, struck out his first time. Three balls and no strikes to Joey.
Votto likes to get in the box and hit. You almost wonder if John Gray is pausing his tempo on purpose to try to make Votto wait a bit. Now this time Votto's going to step out of the box and make John Gray wait. A little cat and mouse.
Yes, 3-2 on Joey Votto, and now Votto waiting and waiting and waiting again on Gray. Straight away center field, hit a long way, and it's up against the wall. And Votto slides into second base for the double, his second hit tonight, his 10th 2-base hit of the year.
Just getting someone aboard for John Gray right now because of the way things have been going for him. It puts a little bit of doubt in his mind, or maybe a little less aggressiveness, especially with this part of the order coming up. One swing of the bat, it's a 4-4 game. But you have a lot of freedom when there's nobody on base. You can just rock and fire.
Scooter Gennett now the batter, representing the tying run. Fastball runs down and in on him, fouled out of play. Gennett has walked, scored, knocked in a run with a sac fly to center in the third. .85 pitches in this game for John Gray, and we're just in the 5th inning. Gennett chased that one out of the zone. It's 0-2.
Yeah, you look at Votto's numbers, they've just continued to creep up slowly but surely, but he is now 9 for his last 17.
Earlier today, the Brewers lost again to the Indians, 3-1. Tribe's starting to rev things up a little bit. Now 4 games over the 500 mark. Won 8 of their last 10. First time Milwaukee's been cooled off in quite some time, and that one hooked down the line, and this will be a base hit to drive in a run for Gennett. Scoring Votto, and Scooter Gennett, 2 runs batted in tonight, ties him for the team high with Suarez, 44 of them. It's a 1-run game.
Looked like a breaking ball that Gray was trying to get down and in. And believe it or not, as many times as we've seen Gennett hit fastballs and launch them, he's the best breaking ball hitter for average in the big leagues.
Yeah. So Votto the double, scores on the 2-base hit from Gennett. And the Reds within a single run. Here's Suarez.
Yeah, but I go back to that 3-up 3-down inning that Romano had in the top of the inning. If you get hit again and you have to go to the bullpen and things start to get sideways, you lose your momentum offensively. It's a 4-2 game. Yeah, you had a 3-run 4th inning, but you came back out and you were able to right the ship. And I think that keeps your position players' head in the game, and it keeps them aggressive.
See now Suarez and Gennett, each one behind the league leader Javier Baez of the Chicago Cubs in runs batted in. 3-0. Ray's doing all he can to give it up.
A little different with that tying run standing at second rather than just having a 4-2 lead. Not only for John Gray, but as you can see, Buddy Black pacing in the dugout.
Suarez green light at 3-0. Got an off-speed pitch, did not give the fastball.
Got a changeup down. That's a pretty good pitch by John Gray. Ball starts in the middle of the plate. And that's the kind of swing you want on 3-0. You're coming out of your shoes. If I'm swinging 3-0, I want it to hurt somebody.
3-1 the count with a tying run. Jeanette out at second, 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And then came right back at 96 and threw it right by him. 88 to 96.
Well, he puts the changeup in the middle of the plate underneath the strike zone, gets the swing and miss. That was an awfully well placed 3-1 fastball right on the outside corner, down around the kneecaps.
Comes with a 3-2 pitch and misses low.
Tried to come back to that changeup. Suarez a little more patient with that pitch, thinking right center field allowed him to wait a little bit longer.
Steve Foster again comes trotting out of the dugout. We are only in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Well, we talked about the offenses as we began the ball game. Both teams swinging the bats well. And if you're a starting pitcher, you're just trying to keep your team in the ball game. And this is the second time Foster's been out there just trying to milk his way through and at least get 5 innings out of John Gray before having to go to the bullpen and not give up the ship.
Adrian Johnson allowed that meeting to go on a long time out there on the mound. That is not the idea of that clock, is to let a meeting occur like it just occurred. All right, so here's Schebler. Tying run at second base. Go ahead run at first for the Reds. Schebler struck out his first time and then looped a single into left center field his last time. And Gray going to work. Ball 1.
You know, this is not really a spot where you're thinking 3-run home run. You're just trying to hit the ball hard, hit it right back up the middle, see if you can get the tying run to the plate. If you're thinking 3-run home run here, you're going to pull off of a pitch, as we saw in the first at bat by Schebler. Second at bat, he stayed behind the ball, hit a line drive into left center field.
Fly ball center. This will be the second out of the inning. Blackman prepares for the throw. Scooter will advance onto third base. 2 down. Now the Rockies have Harrison and Musgrave, a left-hander, ready in their bullpen. Here's Jose Peraza. Runners on the corners. Peraza knocked in a run with a single to center in the second inning. He grounded out to DJ LeMahieu in the 4th. It's a tying run now, 90 feet away. Lead run at first.
They are going to appeal Jeanette's tag at second base.
All right, Peraza a chance to tie the game with a base hit. Extra base hit, maybe give him the lead. Strike 1, a fastball right down the can.
Well, the reason that Gray had to do that for a second time is the ball was never in play the first time he did it. And so home plate umpire Adrian Johnson pointed to him, said, all right, now the ball's in play. You step off, throw the ball back to second. It's got to be in play before you can have an appeal.
And you'll see that designated by the home plate umpire. Where Cowboy mentioned, he just points
right at the pitcher. So many times as a pitcher, you're thinking, all right, I've got to remember exactly. I've got to come set. I've got to step off. I don't want to balk here. And then you forget, well, we're not playing yet.
0-2 on Peraza. Takes the first 2 pitches in this at bat. And now barely makes contact to hang around. And 2 once more on Peraza, and Gray throws the left foot in the air, and here it comes. Wow. The entire Rockies defense made the step towards the third base side dugout.
You could see where Tony Wolters had set up well outside of the strike zone. That's exactly where Gray threw the ball. He threw the ball right to the mitt, but look where the mitt is. I mean, it's 6 inches off the outside corner. That's when you're trying to steal a pitch from the home plate umpire.
Fly ball to right. Gonzalez over near the line, and he'll make the catch in fair ground to retire the side. Reds get a run. They strand 2. We've played 5, and it's a 1-run game. Liner to right field. Jeanette, the first Red ever, with 4 home runs in a game. Unbelievable. Can you believe it?
Well, exactly 1 year ago tonight here at Great American Ballpark, just a regular old Tuesday night at the Yard until that happened for Scooter Jeanette. There's a great display at the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum commemorating that night, but his bat that you see here also resides at the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown in a Reds locker filled with some other items of memorable Reds games in Reds history. But 1 year ago, and Tom, you've made some big calls in your career. That one was that was impressive, and I love the look on Joey Votto's face in the dugout when Jeanette got back.
Yeah, that was incredible. I mean, that was absolutely incredible. Never forget that one as long as we shall live. What a night. All right, now Romano is going to be facing the part of the batting order, not necessarily Gonzalez, he's 0 for 2, but everybody thereafter, Story, Parra, Desmond, that's exclusively done all of the damage outside of one base hit against him tonight. It's been 5, 6, 7, 8 in the batting order, responsible for all the Colorado runs. And he has started Gonzalez 3-1 after his team has just drawn him 1 run closer.
And Lorenzen is still throwing in the Reds bullpen.
Well, I'm sure one batter gets on in this inning, and that's all for Romano. I mean, Jim Riggleman's giving him a chance here to get through the 6th inning. It's his 91st pitch of the game, and he's still 3-2 on Gonzalez. His spot is due to lead off the bottom of the 6th. Romano gave up 1 in the 2nd inning, 3 in the 4th. Sal's allowed 4 runs, 5 hits, has struck out 6.
And this is not really a guy, Tom, in Gonzalez that you want to paint yourself into a corner throwing nothing but fastballs, and that's what the last 3 pitches have been.
Threw him another fastball, and that was whacked. Bobbled out there by Billy. Gonzalez coming into second base. Here's a throw. It's offline. So again, another little play, and Hamilton is no doubt about it a Gold Glove caliber outfielder, but he is the 3rd outfielder in the first 2 games of this series that we've seen mishandle the ball, and it's cost an extra base all 3 times. That is not a double.
Catches it on the barrel, finally timed it up. But you can see the ball carry him off the glove of Hamilton. And as soon as that ball went off the glove of Hamilton, Gonzalez was thinking too.
And you said it, Cowboy, you keep throwing those fastballs to Gonzalez, sooner or later he's going to square one up. And we also mentioned that should a batter reach in this inning, that's it for Romano.
Looks like Blandino will come in and play shortstop, and Michael Lorenzen will come on to pitch.
I got to tell you, I am wondering if he's out at second base out there after watching that replay. It doesn't look like anybody in the Reds dugout right now with Jim Riggleman coming out is taking a look at that. But I'm not so sure that Jeanette did not tag out Gonzalez with his finger off the bag.
Well, Jeanette did not say anything, and normally you'll get some type of reaction from the player making the tag.
Let's see. Wow.
Got it back just in time.
All right, our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen brings on Michael Lorenzen. We're back in a moment. The last time we saw Michael Lorenzen, he worked 4 innings on Friday night in that win at San Diego in relief of starter Tyler Mahle, getting his first save of the season, the 3rd of his career. And now he'll take over with the runner at second base. 5 games under his belt since coming off the DL. Colorado a 4-3 lead. Trevor Story the batter with Gonzalez at second. Nobody out in their strike.
You watch Lorenzen, Tom, when he sets up on the mound, he's got his index finger spiked on the baseball. That's the toughest pitch to get. You can see that knuckle really far up. That he's got his curveball slider grip immediately, because it's tough to get that finger up there once you're in motion. A lot of guys, like if they throw a split finger, they get the split when they start. It's the toughest pitch to get. For Lorenzen, it's getting that finger spiked up on that curveball right before he releases, right before he sets up to get the sign. Why do you spike the finger? Because it gives you more pressure on the middle finger for rotation as the ball comes out of your hand.
Fastball, a strike at 96 miles per hour, and that's good morning, good afternoon, and good night for Mr. Story. That didn't last long.
We talked about making a pitch look like a ball, and it ends up being a strike. Watch where this starts. Off the plate, on the plate. Good night, Irene.
So 1 away in the inning, and now Parra. He is struck out and then knocked in a run with a single to right field on a 2-strike pitch in the 4th. Of course, Lorenzen went to Arizona in hopes of winning a spot in the starting rotation. He has said all along, look, I'll do whatever the team wants me to do, but if you're asking me what I would prefer to do, he would say be a starting pitcher. And for most of last year, outside of Raisel Iglesias, he was the best right-handed reliever by far the Reds had in that bullpen. Hamilton will run this one down, tagging and advancing on a third. Gonzalez, 2 are out.
Well, actually, I think what Michael would really like to do is he would like to start every 5th day and play center field on the other 4 days.
Sure.
Like Ohtani.
And I bet you he could do it.
That's just tough to do at this level and be supreme at both of those tasks.
But I tell you, when you look at the assortment of pitches, now whether the arm can hold up, the body can hold up, I don't think anybody can answer that question except the man upstairs. Having said all that, when you look at Lorenzen's stuff compared to all these other young pitchers the Reds are running out there regularly over the last couple of years, it's hard to imagine that you would not give him a crack at trying to become a starting pitcher again.
Well, I think ultimately it comes down to, can your body hold up?
Yeah.
Each time the Reds have gone that route, there has been a significant injury for Lorenzen. Now, he was a closer on an occasional basis out of college, played center field the majority of the time, then just come jogging in from center, throw about 5 or 6 pitches, I'm good to go.
Yep.
And I don't know that there's any pitcher that's in better shape than Michael Lorenzen in the big leagues.
Well, I don't know if there's a player that's in better shape. Anybody.
But it's not about being strong or in shape. It's about your body being able to repeat those same mechanics for a long period of time. And more times than not, that's built up over a lifetime rather than in just an off season.
Colorado a 1-run lead, and down at third base is Gonzalez with 2 outs, and there's ball 4.
So is this inning going to come down again to Tony Wolters? There is not a game anywhere else that this guy plays, unless it's against the Reds, that we talk this much about his offense.
You're right. I mean, we brought up earlier, he was just, you would have thought he was Mike Piazza the last time we saw this team out in Denver.
Somebody's getting him out a lot.
He was on base 3 times, an RBI and a walk in the first game of that series last week. He sat out the second game. The third game he had a walk, 2 hits, and scored a run. And then he did not play the final game. But the other catcher, Iannetta, hit a 2-run home run, was intentionally walked in one of his starts. He had a double and 2 walks in the other, and there's a base hit into right field. And it's Walters again, who came in hitting 159 with 9 RBIs. Rockies catchers, if my numbers are correct, have now reached, that would be 13 of the 19 plate appearances against Reds pitching this year. I'll double check that. And Walters has 2 RBIs tonight.
It looks like Tauchman will come off the bench and pinch hit in the pitcher spot.
Yep. 19 plate appearances by the Colorado catchers, who a combined are hitting about $180. And of the 19 plate appearances, they have reached base 13 times with 5 walks. Runner takes off, and it's a one-hopper Jeanette. He will throw out Tauchman, the pinch hitter, and that will end the inning. But a big run for Colorado, and the lead stands at 2. And, you know, Cowboy, it's obviously been that kind of a season a lot we've seen this year. You know, the Reds, they hang in there and they'll get a run back, and then all of a sudden, you know, the other club gets a run to kind of get that momentum back, but still a 2-run game and 4 more at-bats to go.
Well, you've given yourself a shot to win this ball game, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that the Reds are scoring some runs early in the game. Now, you've still got to keep it close, and the bullpen has got to continue to do their job. The bullpen for the Rockies, that's where they've had their problems. So if you're going to get it, it's time to get it now.
Yep, you're right. That is where they've had their problems, and they'll go to the bullpen starting now. Harrison Musgrave is a left-hander. We told you earlier, if you weren't with us, you know, the Rockies ended that 4-game losing streak last night, and they had a lead in all 4 of those games. Romano's officially charged with all 5 Colorado runs, 6 hits, 6 strikeouts, and a walk, and 5+. And John Gray goes 5 innings, allows 7 hits, 3 runs, all earned. He struck out 5 and walked 3. That's a high walk total for Gray, who had only walked 19 all year coming in.
Well, if you're Bud Black here, you're trying to steal an inning from a pitcher. You bring him in here in the bottom of the order, see if you can't get 3 quick outs in the bottom of the Reds order, and then you'll bring in another one of your hammers out of your bullpen when the Reds bring Votto, Jeanette, Suarez back to the plate.
Alex Blandino will bat 4. Actually, made the double switch, I beg your pardon, when they brought Lorenzen into the game. They brought Blandino in to play shortstop, so he is batting in the number 8 position. The pitcher spot is in the 7 position. Cubbies already in the bottom of the 4th inning. They started an hour 10 later than we did tonight, and Cubs a 3-0 lead over the Phillies. Philadelphia ending the Chicago winning streak last night. Earlier today, we told you the Brewers lost, Giants beat Arizona, and a wild one going on in Pittsburgh, 8-7. And there's ball 4 to Blandino. Come out to the Holy Grail with Mo Egger from 700 WLW and be part of the Reds Fan Cam. You can answer a Reds trivia question. You might win great prizes and might even part of our Reds live coverage. Party gets started 6 o'clock this Friday night, right across the street from the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum at the Holy Grail. Great spot. It's where we do the Reds Hot Stove League during the offseason. Great spot.
Now, Musgrave has given you a golden opportunity here to put some runs on the board. You walk a leadoff batter, especially in the bottom of the order, and we've talked about this with the catchers for the Rockies getting aboard. Well, you've got your 8-hole hitter aboard. Now it's time to do some damage here at the bottom of the order. Get on base so your big fellas can drive you home.
Billy Hamilton 0 for 1. His fly to right, drawn a walk, showed bunt on the first pitch and missed high. Boy, this Musgrave is having a terrible time finding a plate. He's thrown 7 pitches. Only 1 for a strike.
Well, like I said, I think Buddy brought him into the ball game to try to steal an inning here before you get back to the part of the Reds order that has put the runs on the board. But if you can't throw strikes, there's no stealing there. You're just giving it away.
Marlins in the 4th inning, a 3-1 lead over St. Louis. Marlins won the opener of that series last night. And I'm sure that in St. Louis, Missouri, this is one of the saddest days in a long, long time. Some of you may have heard earlier the passing of Red Schoendienst. Albert Fred Red Schoendienst.
They don't come much better than him.
95 years young. Great second baseman, played for 19 years for the Cardinals. Also the Giants, the New York Giants, and the Milwaukee Braves, a 10-time All-Star. Managed the Cardinals for 12 years, the second longest managerial tenure in the team's history behind Tony La Russa. He was a manager when they won the pennants in '67 and '68, the World Series in '67. He was National League Manager of the Year both years.
One of the most humble men I have ever met.
No doubt about it. Inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1989. Hamilton gone swinging, and one final note as he passes away. Of course, he was still in uniform all the time. You'd see him as recently as this spring. He had worn a Major League Baseball uniform for 74 consecutive years as a player, coach, or manager. We mourn the loss, born in Germantown, Illinois, of Red Schoendienst. Our thoughts and prayers to so many.
Lost a big one there.
Yep.
And again, Musgrave's behind in the count.
Winker is fly to right, double to right center, and made the final out, stranding 2 in the 4th inning with a pop up to short center field. Breaking ball low, 3-0.
This is when you're in the dugout as a manager or pitching coach. You look down as though you're looking at your statistics and you're saying to yourself, you've got to be kidding. But you don't say it looking up because they'll catch you on camera.
That's right. Three balls and a strike on Winker. Representing the tying run at the plate. Oh my goodness. Second walk already for Musgrave out of that Colorado bullpen. I mean, look at Bud Black. He's beside himself down there. I mean, look at that face. That tells you all you need to know.
You don't have to say anything. But the Reds have they put themselves in a good spot. You're patient at the plate. You get Blandino aboard. Winker is aboard. Now you've got some guys coming to the plate that can drive some runs home. But the key is getting it done.
It's the first time that Musgrave has walked a left-handed batter this year in his prior, well, this being his 7th game.
I mean, he is not close.
He's a native of West Virginia, was born and raised in Morgantown and pitched collegiately there. He was an 8th round pick 4 years ago by the Rockies. Been a starter his entire professional career until now. Well, he's throwing strikes in his at bat to Scooter Gennett. Ahead now, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, the first pitch he threw Tucker was up and away. The second was a changeup well off the plate, but he got a swing. Now the last pitch caught the outside corner.
1-2 the count. And this inning belongs to Musgrave. I mean, they don't have anybody getting loose, so they're going to sink or swim with this left-hander. They've had to use so much bullpen because their starting pitching during that long homestand was just abysmal. In fact, it's all been abysmal. It's a foul ball. I mean, their staff ERA is over 7 the last 11 days, and they're scoring about 7 a game. So that's why they're basically breaking even on a 4-5 homestand.
And every pitch that Musgraves has thrown to Barnhart here in this at bat has been either away or off the plate away. He has not come in one time. That's why Barnhart got a much better swing on that last pitch down the right field line. They're going out there again.
That was his best breaking ball so far.
And that one happened to sweep back over the inside part of the plate.
And Barnhart out of there on strikes. So it's been walk, strikeout for Musgrave.
Just a little over aggressive for Barnhart here in this at bat. Chased a couple of pitches, actually 3 pitches that were off the plate. 2 of those being changeups that cost him.
So now it's up to Joey Votto. Votto 2 hits in the game already so far. But Joey's still in search of that first run batted in. Closing in on nearly a month. His last RBIs when the Reds were in San Francisco in the middle of May. Been a .344 batter during this 7-game streak without a run batted in. So I mean, he's collecting a ton of hits. Almost all of them, all but 5 of them, have been singles. 1 ball and 1 strike on Votto. Had a good pitch to hit right there, a good cut, and fouled it back. Of his last, what now, 24 hits with 2 tonight. He has 4 doubles and a triple. On base percentage up over .425, higher than that after tonight, but a big time now to knock a couple in. Inning is over. End of 6, 5-3 Colorado.
long time, but the final numbers are in, and the Reds front office and scouts can finally exhale with the end of baseball's amateur draft. An inexact science, to say the least, but overall, the Reds took 26 college players, including number 5 overall pick Jonathan India, the SEC Player of the Year from Florida. By the way, the University of Kentucky, in the heart of Reds country, 13 players selected, the most by any college in the country.
Wow. That is staggering.
That's when you hope you don't lose 13 if you're the head coach at the University of Kentucky.
And it doesn't mean he will lose all 13.
No.
Because not all 13 have to sign. But that's pretty amazing. I mean, you might think a Kentucky basketball team would have 13 guys drafted in 1 year.
Just tells you the quality of talent.
Michael Lorenzen facing DJ LeMahieu, his 4th time at the plate, and he's 0 for 4 on a fly ball to center as we open the 7th inning with Colorado leading by 2. The top 4 hitters in the Colorado lineup tonight are 2 for 13. But the next 4 have 12 plate appearances, 5 hits, 5 runs batted in, and 2 walks.
The 7 and 8 hole batter for the Rockies here in this ball game. 193 Desmond, 159 Walters. They've made the difference in the game.
Yep. Desmond's been on base 3 times, 2 walks, and a 2-run homer. Walters has 2 hits, 2 RBIs in 3 at bats. Lorenzen waiting and waiting and waiting on Blackman to get back in the box. Standing there on the rubber waiting for him. 1-2 pitch. And he's gone swinging. All that for that. First strikeout for Michael. Second strikeout, I beg your pardon. Struck out the first batter he faced, Story. Brian?
Yes, sir.
I understand you have some kind of an update on the draft.
Yeah, these types of things seem to keep coming. We talked about Ryan Weathers, David Weathers' son, who was a very high draft pick. Also, the son of Mr. Perfect, Tom Browning, one Logan Browning, a left-handed pitcher at Florida Southern College, selected in the 24th round by the Boston Red Sox.
Good for him. Good for him. Congratulations to the whole Browning clan. That's exciting stuff. Wish Logan good luck. Fly ball to right. Lorenzen very impressive. Going through LeMahieu, Blackman, and Arenado. Reds down 2. They'll bat in the 7th.
Superhero night here at the ballpark. Purchase the Marvel Superhero ticket package and take home an exclusive Captain America bobblehead, and you should hurry because this is a limited collectible bobblehead. You can buy tickets at reds.com/themes. Don't miss Captain America bobblehead night at the ballpark, and I can see some youngsters in the crowd here tonight that would be pretty fired up about that.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, they'd be all fired up, and they'll have a chance to be here if they're able. Pop up on the first pitch of the at-bat to Jeanette, and that's a big out right there once again for Musgrave, who went walk, strikeout, walk, but facing Barnhart, and then a huge strikeout of Votto, stranding 2 to end the 6th inning. Reds have left 9 runners on base, and that's really in just 5 innings, because they were retired 1, 2, 3 in the first inning. They've left 2, 1, 2, 2, 2 in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Eugenio Suarez about it. Ball hit hard, but right at the center fielder Blackman. He'll back up a few paces. 2 quick outs for a guy who had a hard time throwing strikes. 3 pitches to get 2 outs on Jeanette and Suarez.
The Reds only had 1 run when we got to this point in last night's game.
Yep.
Put a 5 spot in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning.
Of course, the way things are going right now, you know you're seeing Davis in the 9th.
Well, there's no doubt about that. So I'm in the 9th last night.
Yeah, well, they weren't counting on that part of it. Sinking liner and a base hit for Schebler. He has 2 hits and 4 at-bats tonight.
The thing about the Reds offense, you've got some guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. You get a runner on, you put a little bit of pressure on the hitter. One mistake, you've got a tie ball game.
Well, here's a guy that can do it, and that's Adam Duvall. We know he can run into one. And Bud Black coming out. He has Scott Oberg, a right-hander, ready at his bullpen to face a right-handed batting Adam Duvall, or Willie. Yep. That was interesting. That was very interesting. That one-sided conversation involving Bud Black and his pitcher Musgrave. We'll be back in a moment. game from AAA Albuquerque. Since he's brought up, he's not allowed an earned run in 4 games. Was having an excellent year down in the minor leagues. Of course, he has been a regular in this Colorado bullpen, closing out on 170 games just over the last 3+ years. He made the opening day roster and pitched very well at the start, but then started getting tattooed around a little bit towards the end of April. They sent him back out. Now, one area where he has really struggled, I mean almost beyond belief, the number of inherited runners he is allowed to score. 14 of the 17 runners that he has inherited coming into a game have scored. That's the most in the National League and tied for the most in Major League Baseball, and he's been in the minor leagues for 3 weeks.
That's one of those guys, if you're a starter, you hope he's not up in the bullpen when you're out there with your runners on base.
But you know, when we were there, most people felt like Adam Ottavino was having the best season for a relief pitcher of anybody in Major League Baseball. He's not their closer, but he was their right-handed setup man. He's hurt.
Got hurt in the last game we were there.
And ever since he went down, the wheels have started to come loose on this Colorado bullpen.
Well, when you have a reshuffling of your bullpen, a guy that pitches in the 8th and the 9th inning that goes down, everybody in the bullpen starts to think, all right, well, I want to be the guy that is pitching in the 8th inning. I want to be the closer now. You start to try to do too much to prove to the manager that you can be the guy. And things get a little sideways.
Strikes out Duvall, and that'll end the inning. Head to the 8th inning. Colorado 5, the Reds 3.
That's where we'll be for Reds Live post-game tonight and pre-game tomorrow as this series wraps up at Great American Ballpark. Reds Live on the air at noon tomorrow, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. The pitching matchup, another rematch from the series less than 2 weeks ago in Denver. Tyler Anderson and Tyler Mahle, neither figured in the decision last time out in Denver, but Mahle's last start against the Padres, 5 shutout innings. He'll toe the rubber here tomorrow afternoon with baseball under the afternoon sun in downtown Cincinnati. Hope you'll join us for the pregame show at high noon.
And that was a game where Anderson went 6 innings, allowed 3 runs, and then the bullpen gave it up. Reds came back to win that game. Mahle went 5 innings, allowed 4 runs and 6 hits, but he walked 4 in that game. So he had 10 base runners in 5 innings against Colorado. That was in Denver. David Hernandez. Boy, how well he has thrown the ball since being activated from the disabled list. The 2 signs in that Reds bullpen that they made during the offseason, Hernandez and Jarrett Hughes, have just been excellent. There's no 2 ways about it. And we thought that would be the case. I mean, these are 2 bona fide professional big league pitchers that know how to get people out.
Well, the key is not overusing those 2 guys because of the short starts that you're getting from your starting pitchers. You've got some great help from Amir Garrett down there. You've got your closer in Raisel Iglesias, and now you have Lorenzen back. So you're getting some help.
Carlos Gonzalez to be followed by Story, then Parra. 2-2. Off the end of the bat, still drives it a long way, but it'll be right. Oh boy. Gonzalez falls down, and then Jeanette dropped the ball, or they would have had the out in between second and third when Gonzalez fell down. It's a rare misplay in center by Billy Hamilton. You never see that.
I think there was a little bit of miscommunication, to be honest with you, between he and Schebler. But the bottom line is, you call it, you go get it, and you keep your eye on the ball, not on the player coming towards you.
Now, we're not out there, but we saw Schebler raise his right hand, which, when you see that, the first thing you think, right, Cowboy, is that he's the one calling the ball.
Doesn't matter. Hamilton's the center fielder. He's the captain. If Hamilton calls for a ball that's at second base, he's the one that's supposed to catch it. And it just looked like Billy just, at the last second, caught the body of Schebler and took his eye off the ball.
Red's very lucky Gonzalez not standing at third base. Had he been running hard from the very beginning, he would have gone into third standing up. But he thought that was a fly ball that Hamilton was going to catch, and 9.5 times out of 10, Billy will. In fact, 99 out of 100 he will. 1-2 on Story.
Things are beginning to unravel a bit. Breaking ball well off the plate, gets through the legs of Barnhart, and he turns to throw. Really didn't have a play, even though he had a great ricochet. That ball hits the ground and it hugs the ground. Normally that breaking ball will pop up a bit.
So now the runner at third with nobody out on a 2-base error and a wild pitch. We're in the 8th inning. Colorado in front by 2. Hit a ton to left field, but hooking foul. Oh my goodness. You don't see balls go up in that second deck all that frequently. That was halfway up the second deck.
That's just a strike.
That's right. Great shot there.
Good thing it hooked.
It's ball 4. There's one batter in the league you better be ready for the squeeze. It would be Parr. Now with a 2-run lead, you don't figure this is coming, but this guy's a very good bunter. We've already seen it in this series. He's 1 for 3 tonight, an RBI single, scored a run in the 4th. Base hit right field. Going first to third and falling down, and now being tagged out. There must be something in between second and third. Gonzalez fell down right in that same spot a minute ago, and now Story falls down, and he's tagged out.
Story might have hurt himself.
Two of them in one inning.
Yeah, you like the aggressive base running, but you still have to keep your feet underneath you. And Gargo able to scramble back to the bag, but not the Rockies shortstop.
So give Parr the run batted in to make it a 6-3 game. He's at first with 1 out. And now Desmond the batter. Parr has 5 steals in 7 attempts.
You know, you and I were talking about this earlier. The Rockies have a tendency to try to snowball innings. You give them just a little bit, they really start to swing, expand the zone, put the ball in play. It's almost as though you get the leadoff runner aboard, they become much more aggressive at the plate. Less patient, much more aggressive.
Oh, and 1 count on Desmond. And now the ball and a strike. Desmond's had a big night. On base 3 times, walked and scored in the 2nd, 2-run home run to left center in the 4th. Walked again in the 6th. Well, I tell you, they get this guy going, and along with Carlos Gonzalez, who's been rolling for better part of 8 to 10 days, look out. I mean, look no further than a game like tonight. Those top 4 guys in the lineup have really done next to nothing. Now, Gonzalez reached on the air to begin, this inning, but he has a hit. Arenado has a hit, but that is it in 16 at bats of their best 4 hitters in the lineup. But you got Story, he's got 41 knocked in. Parr is a good solid player. Desmond is much better than he's been so far, yet he has 11 home runs and 33 batted in. You get him up to 250, 260. Look out. Two away in the inning.
A lot of breaking balls away from Desmond earlier. This fastball starts in the middle and rides up and in. Just sneaks it right by him.
So here's Walters, 2 hits and 3 at bats, 2 RBIs. He had 9 RBIs this entire season, and he's knocked in 2 tonight. Popped up. Suarez squeezes it tightly. An unearned run against Hernandez, but a big run to make it a 3-run lead.
Yep. To work with, and as soon as they're done, it's Reds Live postgame presented by Performance Kings Honda. We've got highlights. We take you inside the manager's office and the Reds clubhouse as well. Join us either at the Reds Live condo or at home on Fox Sports Ohio. It's Reds Live postgame as soon as the Reds and Rocks wrap things up here in a 6-3 game.
All right, Geese, thank you very much. Reds need the big bats to come out. They'll have Blandino to be followed by Hamilton, and then the top of the order in Winker against Oberg, who came on to strike out Duvall for the final out in the 7th inning. 6 runs, 8 hits for the Rockies. 3 runs, 8 hits for the Reds. Breaking ball in there, a strike. So tonight here you have another game, and we brought it up last night. The Rockies are one short of tying a franchise record. That is a foul ball. Tonight is the 11th consecutive game the Rockies have both recorded 8 or more hits and allowed 8 or more hits. 11 straight games.
Well, it's not as though the Reds don't have hits. They have gotten hits. They had 15 last night. They out-hit the Rockies. 17 hits last night?
Yeah.
I knew it was in the teens.
Yeah, it's teens. High teens. High teens. Well, you know, the thing that was interesting about last night, you brought it up earlier. They had 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 hits in their last 4 at-bats. 13 of the 17. They had 4 hits going into the 7th inning last night. Or going into the 6th inning, I beg your pardon. And of course, they had the tying run at the plate last night after they were down at one point, what, 9-1? They made it 9-3 in the 7th. They got 3 in the 9th and had the tying run at the plate when Schebler struck out to end the game. Blandino gone swinging for the first out here in the Reds' 8th. 2 batters, 2 strikeouts for Oberg. And now Bud Black trots out of the dugout. He has a left-hander down there, Jake McGee, ready to go, and McGee will come into the game. We're back in a moment. And we saw this left-hander in the game last night. That would be Jake McGee. Went 1 inning, allowed a couple of hits, no runs, 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, I think this is a guy that Bud Black really wants to get back in the positive signs because he's had a tough beginning. 1-2 with a 4.91 ERA. I think he is a left-hander that Black was counting on to maybe push back towards the back end of the ball game, but he's had a rough go here early.
Billy Hamilton is 0 for 2. Down a strike.
Yeah, I've noticed both times that Black has gone to his left-handers. He's gone to them in the bottom of the order. That way, if they make some mistakes, they're not as apt to get hurt. That way, they're ready as far as making pitches when you get back to the top of the order and you start getting those left-handed bats coming to the plate.
Try to get him a chase. 2 balls, 2 strikes. You have a left-handed batting Winker next.
That ball was right down the middle.
So now it'll be Winker. And Winker with a base hit. 3rd time he's been on base tonight. You know, Cowboy, you said something when we did television a couple of homestands ago and about Winker and when he bats leadoff and, you know, he's so worried about getting on base and he's taking more pitches, you know, all that kind of thing. You know, we've seen just here even in the last 2 days, his base hits have come on the 1st or 2nd pitch of the at bat.
I just
and
think
it seems like the deeper he's been in counts of late, the more outs he's making. I'm not suggesting you got to go up there and swing at everything, but you were the one that made the point initially.
I think there's so much made of being a leadoff hitter and having to work the count and trying to take pitches and build a pitch count. Some hitters can't do that. I remember when Zach Cozart was here, they wanted him to take a lot of pitches, and finally he just said, forget this, I'm a first pitch hitter, that's what I'm going to do. He had a phenomenal year, phenomenal couple of years. You are who you are. And when you try to be somebody else, then you're going to have a problem.
Now, Winker is, everybody would agree, he is the kind of guy that can work the count and has a very good, you know, eye for the strike zone. But that doesn't mean, as you point out,
that you can't swing at the first pitch.
We've seen that the last 2 nights.
I think the thing about Winker, and it's very similar to Joey Votto, if there is a pitch that you like on the first pitch, you swing. If it's not, then you take it and you move on deeper into the count.
If I'm not mistaken, last year, and I'll go back and double check on this, but Votto ranked in the top 5 in Major League Baseball, the most time swinging at the first pitch of an at bat.
That's where he hits
all players in Major League Baseball.
That's where he hits his home runs. First pitch of the at bat.
And who's been a better on base percentage guy than him? Nobody.
Not that I know of.
One and 2 the count on Tucker Barnhart.
Yeah, I'm wondering who was standing taller there. Was it Tony Walters or was it Tucker Barnhart? That's one of those spots, if you're the umpire behind home plate, you're trying to figure out, all right, well, where am I going to get here?
Tucker drops one foul out of play. Ball girl down there getting after it. She's a left-hander. What do you think about that, Cowboy? She's a left-hander.
I like that.
And she likes to smile too. Good stuff.
She's at a big league baseball game and she's on the field.
She's got that Tatum O'Neal look from Bad News Bears a little bit.
Why not be happy?
Although she was a right-hander and a dandy. 3-2 the count.
Bad News Bears. It's a pretty good flick.
It's really good.
Soaking your elbow in Walter Matthau's beer bucket. Oh, man.
I always wanted to do that when I coached Little League. But Times have changed, I reckon. Mathau, though, he won a lot of games for that team after a slow start.
Yeah. I like the little shortstop. What was his name? The little blonde-headed kid. Always threw his glove down.
Tanner.
Tanner. Yeah. I would identify with Tanner. Tanner would fit my personality.
Oh, yeah, loved him. Of course, the sponsor of that team, Chico's Bail Bonds.
Loved it.
Kelly Leak.
Rudy, I want you to go up there and lean into it. You mean get hit on purpose? I don't know if I can do that.
He did it.
He did.
And a liner into right. Gonzalez, no, does not get it. That's a base hit. And on to third goes Winker. So here comes Votto yet again.
Well, we just talked about first pitch home run. Votto's due for an RBI sooner or later. Why not get 3 with one swing of the bat? A heck of a play by Gonzalez in right field. Not only the effort, but the ability to stop the ball on one hop. If that gets by him, Barnhart standing at third base, and Winker's standing in the dugout with a run score.
All right, Votto looking for his first RBI since mid-May. Lifts one into left field down the line and caught by Parra to end the inning. The wait continues for Joey Votto. American Ballpark, and don't forget Saturday, if you're one of the first 20,000 fans through the gates, you get that Scooter Jeanette bobblehead presented by Dynegy Energy Services. You can be here as low as $12. Log on to Reds.com. We've arrived in the 9th inning. The Reds are down 3. They would like to be bringing this guy in the game, of course, up 3. Ryan McMahon will bat against Raisel Iglesias. That means we'll see their closer, Mr. Davis, unless this turns into a non-save situation. Unlikely against Iglesias. into left field, and that's out number 1. Back to the top of the order now, and LeMahieu.
I really did not think that Blackmon would get another at bat. He's got a 12-game hitting streak coming into tonight. And here he is standing on deck to get it against a pretty tough pitcher. Is that Kurt Casale behind the plate? I guess it is.
Yes, part of a double switch with Iglesias entering the game. Okay, the Colorado bullpen's done a nice job tonight. I mean, Musgrave walked a couple of batters, 2 of the first 3, in fact, when he came on in relief of Gray in the 6th inning, but then struck out Barnhart and Votto with 2 on to end that inning. He allowed a hit after getting 2 outs. Oberg came in, struck out the only 2 batters he faced, knocked down by Suarez, and has plenty of arm to throw out LeMahieu. 2 down.
Well, that was a bullet. Many times said, but it's the hot corner for a reason. And a nice job by Suarez just to knock the ball down. No panic. I got you. That's right on the barrel. Short hop liner. He made that look easy.
So here is the aforementioned Mr. Blackmon. And that hitting streak will come to an end. 12 in a row. That's all she wrote. 3 up, 3 down for Iglesias in the 9th. Reds bat in the bottom of the 9th, trailing 6-3. Sports Ohio brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance, and by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places. So we will be rolling home right by the old ballpark and right by the arena. And looking up into Mount Adams as you're cruising along the road. Wade Davis picked up his 19th save. He goes for number 20 of the year here tonight. He's blown 2.
We only had to throw 3 pitches last night. I'm sure he's pretty sore.
That was to strike out Shebler to end the game. And then the mystery of Brian Shaw continues for this Colorado team. This guy, we've seen him so much with the Reds playing the Indians every year, home and home. And he's been lights out.
Just hasn't quite gotten that breaking ball the way that he had it in Cleveland.
Popped up into foul ground off the bat of Jeanette. 1 out in the Cincinnati ninth. Reds had a pile of chances in this game tonight. In 7 innings, they've left 12 runners on base. They left 2 on when Hamilton flied out to end the 3rd. 1 on in the 3rd. They left 2 on when Winker flied out to end the 4th. They had 1 in, 2 on, nobody out, or 1 out when Shebler and Peraza were retired. Votto struck out with 2 on to end the 6th. And then Votto flied out to left with 2 on, ending the 8th. So a lot of chances against this Colorado pitching staff tonight, but just unable so far anyway to come up with that big crucial base hit. And give the Rockies pitchers credit. I mean, they're getting people out.
Well, they've gotten outs when they've had to in crucial situations, because the Reds are going to out hit them tonight again.
Second baseman LeMahieu throws, not going to be in time, and it's into the dugout. So that'll be a hit, the 11th of the game for the Reds. And then an error on DJ LeMahieu. For Suarez, that's his 2nd hit tonight, been on base 3 times. The shortstop doesn't make that play, you have no chance to throw out the runner. I'm not sure even if the shortstop makes it if you do. But when the second baseman has all that momentum going towards left field, forget about it.
It's one of those plays that it takes a Tony Fernandez throw where you don't even look. You just throw it underneath your left arm.
Boy, was he slick. Man, was he slick. What a player.
Or an Alomar play.
Boy, but Tony Fernandez, loved watching him play. He was an odd sort of bird, though, wasn't he?
Just quiet.
Yeah.
Just quiet.
Gamer.
He could play now.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Came up with Toronto, 1 year with the Reds. Played third base, if I remember right.
Yeah. Ivan DeJesus Sr. was that way. He was quiet. Man, was he a beast.
He's not now. I see him all the time.
He talks now.
I mean, he is something else. He lives here in Cincinnati. And
he was quiet back in the day.
Boy, he is a fun guy to be around. And I was with him the other night on Saturday night, and he's 65 or 63, one or the other. I can't remember which. It looks like he's absolutely chiseled out of stone.
I think he was ripped coming out of the womb.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable what kind of shape he's in.
Stout.
What a guy. Two and one. And now 2-2. He's 65. 65.
Yeah, I was playing with him in AAA, and we were not having a real good game. And you know, that's back when they had the cups in the end of the bat, and I was making mud cookies out of the end of the bats and smoothing them out, put baby powder over the top of them, put them on the spread table. He walks in after we got beat. About 11-2. I didn't know. I was just a kid. I was playing around. I was just trying to pass the time. He put the entire piece of mud
Come on.
in his
Come on.
and started to chew it, and you could hear the rocks in his teeth. I thought he was going to kill me. Of course, at that point, I was crying, laughing. Not a good time to be playing around with a guy that just got finished playing about 20 years in the big leagues.
Right. That's a great story. Can't believe you've never told me that story before.
You could hear it, and he's spitting that stuff out.
Oh, man.
But they look just like chocolate chip cookies because of the way the mud.
No, I'm sure of that.
And I put that little baby powder on there,
Right.
like powdered sugar. Evidently, they look good because he snapped that bad boy up and threw it right in his mouth, the whole thing. The old gravel special. Not a happy camper. That's what we should do sometimes. Just talk about minor league stories and what you did.
Oh, we'll have time. Don't worry about it.
Goodness gracious.
2-0 the count. Straight up in the air, Casali, and this is going to do it. Reds will drop back-to-back games to the Rockies. Final count tonight, Reds out hit them 11-8 but lose 6-3. Reds strand 13 in the game. Gray the winner, Romano the loser, and Davis saved number 20. 6-3 the final. Reds Live is right around the corner. Brian Giesenslow and company standing by on Fox Sports Ohio.